I'm Bill Lavin. I graduated from Oswego in 1967. I taught for 38 years at West Genesee Middle School. I taught for 38 years, in fact, in the same classroom. When I first taught at West Genesee, it was a junior high school, and I taught woodworking, ceramics, and a little bit of technical drawing. I taught only boys, and it was 7th grade. After about 3 years, we moved into 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And then I taught a little bit of 9th grade with 10-week construction, wood carving, and 10 weeks of ceramics and drawing.
Hi, I'm Joe Clayton, and I taught technology for 42 years. 40 of those years were in North Syracuse schools. I just retired this last June, and am thoroughly enjoying retirement at the present time. I joined our Tech Ed Association when I was at Oswego in 1965, and basically I've been a member ever since, and I think I've held the position, various positions, treasurer, vice president, and I think I've been president of the association about 4 different years at different times.
Hi, I'm Earl Billings, technology teacher. I did my undergraduate work at Oswego, and I graduated in 1962, and I got a job at Cato Meridian Central School. I taught in the high school for 42 years before I retired, and I retired on a Wednesday at 9 o'clock, and I had a job at Oswego State by 11 o'clock. So I've been at Oswego since then. This will be my 8th year teaching transportation and other courses at Oswego. And I really enjoy it up there a lot. The kids are great. And I'm in my 50th year of teaching. So I've been around a while, seen a lot of changes, and have really enjoyed it tremendously.
Hello, pleased to join you. My name is Philip Gaines. I received my bachelor's and master's degree from Tarleton State University, a branch of the Texas A&M University system. I taught in Glen Cove, New York for 2 years and joined the staff at SUNY Oswego in 1974. I came aboard with 6 new faculty members, stayed at SUNY Oswego into my 37th year, retiring this past October of 2010.
My name's Tom LaClair. Been in the education community for over 37 years before I retired in 1996. Started out in Camden Central Schools in the 50s, 1959. Moved from there to Onondaga Central from 60 to 64, then moved to the Liverpool School District, where I held 4 different positions, including teacher, subject supervisor, director, house principal, and then curriculum coordinator for math, science, and technology. So I've been at it for 37 years.
Some of the changes of technology and the teaching were the introduction of computers, of course. Now, this was before the World Wide Web. I probably had the first email account in the West Genesee district, and I used to teach at BOCES on how to do email, and that was a 3-day course. It was 2 hours each day for a total of 6 hours, simply how to use email. I also had a connection with NASA, where I would have the children and the students download information from NASA, strictly text, no graphics at all yet. I gave lectures or presentations over the state on this concept.
In the 42 years that I taught, there certainly has been many significant changes within our profession. The most notable one was that we definitely changed from a very hands-on oriented program to much more of a computer-based program. And I think that's something that always concerned me just a little bit, because I think we had to be careful to make sure we kept our curriculum so that students still had to definitely do problem solving, and that they had to figure out things for themselves, and they had to learn how to teach themselves some of the things they needed to do, and to actually still make things with their hands.
We changed from industrial arts to technology education, and that was probably one of the biggest changes that we had to deal with. I know a lot of guys that were of my vintage weren't too happy about it, and they didn't think they could teach technology and didn't want to change. But I relished the change, and I think that we developed courses that were really interesting to kids, and we were able to even expand our program to a 3-person department, 1 person in the middle school and 2 people in the high school. We went for the high-tech classes. We developed a CAD program, and it really was a great time in my career.
But Central New York as a group, this area made the big move into technology education. Number one, I would like to think the college had a major role in that. Individuals like Vern Tryon and David Kelsey, a host of our graduate students helped develop the Super Teach program, went around the state. It was a great effort, and I think people began to see the need for a change, and most individuals joined. There were a few that chose to stay until their retirement with the industrial arts concept. One of the honorees tonight, a go-to person for our change, was Tom LaClair. He really made a move in the area and brought teachers that are in Central New York up to speed and stressed the importance of the change. So when I look back, that's the one big change I see for our discipline.
Well, prior to answering that, let me state that I'm representing over 37 years of a multitude of projects and activities. I need to thank the colleges, universities, school districts, organizations, and teachers for their guidance and support. It's been an absolutely wonderful experience. The thing that I would bring to the top of the list was the 7th and 8th grade state requirement for tech ed. This is a tremendous breakthrough. It took close work with our New York State Board of Regents. I can remember meeting with Regents Emil Griffith over in Rome, and eventually we got enough Regents support to make that happen. The second thing was the movement from local, state to national in recognizing industrial arts programs. Back then it was still industrial arts. Then in 1988 I had the privilege of chairing an organization where its high school was acclaimed one of the best in the nation, and that was a powerful thing. Now you had models of state high school curriculum, school district curriculum that you could put out to other teachers and share with them. Third, I got a few. The movement from industrial arts to tech ed. The Futuring Project, I don't know how many hours, days, and weeks I spent on that, but it was a powerful experience when the Division of Occupational Education could say to itself, it's time to revisit some issues. And in fact, the outcome of that was moving tech ed to general education in New York State. That was a powerful project, and it changed our history. especially in New York State immeasurably. Then there was the MST movement, where we took seriously now the close working relationship between math, science, and technology in our school system. And I had the privilege back then of being the first curriculum coordinator in New York State that was specially appointed to integrate math, science, technology. Powerful experience. Lastly, the academic identity with the engineering community. All the way through the Futuring Project, we had a close encounter with the engineering community. In fact, our chairperson was an engineer. That relationship has grown to the point where we now identify with the engineering community. That has a great deal of academic significance to us. Things have changed tremendously. I've selected a few. That list could be much longer.
Even in retirement now, I'm still connecting with the local organization. I'm a supervisor of student teachers for Oswego, and I gave presentations at the conference at Oswego.
I think within our profession, the most important single contribution that I made with students was, again, to try to be careful as our curriculum changed to make sure that students still had the ability to actually make things, to do hands-on, and to have to design, to engineer, to test, to evaluate those results of whatever it was they were doing. I think that's been hard to preserve in some cases. I think we did a good job of it in my program at North Syracuse, along with the help of my colleague, Lynn Zajac.
One of the most significant contributions I think that I was able to deliver to the field of technology education was mentoring 151 student teachers. And if you kind of calculate it out, if they all became teachers and they taught for 30 years, I would probably be indirectly affecting over 1 million students. So I really enjoyed working with the students from Oswego in their student teaching experience. I loved working with them and watching them improve, and we really developed a lot of outstanding teachers that I know will be a real credit to the field. And I was blessed by having the opportunity to work with so many of them and try to mentor them and help them and point them in the right directions. And I know a lot of them right now are just outstanding teachers. So that's probably one of my contributions that I feel the strongest about.
I believe when it comes to contributions to my discipline, I look back at my role with SUNY Oswego and the fellowship and professionalism that I developed with my students. As far as being a researcher or a writer, I can think of my colleague Austin Blake, who once said in a department meeting that writing was like birthing a brick. I did write some articles, but it wasn't what I considered an enjoyable pastime. But at one time I was advisement coordinator for the department, and we had 3 different general education requirements going on at the same time. And working with the students to see to it they met graduation requirements through all 3 different levels and different requirements was my goal, and I think was basically successful with most transfer students and other students that I worked with during that period. And when I enter schools now as a student teacher supervisor, or prior to my retirement, it was like seeing friends over and over again. I was always welcome. Just an example would be yourself and Annette when I go to Baldwinsville. In fact, the entire Baldwinsville group, it was like being with my friends when I was there supervising. And the fact that we can maintain that relationship and look to each other for friendship and professionalism is an excellent contribution as far as I'm concerned.
Probably a vision. I had a belief that industrial arts technology education was part of the mainstream education for all children in this country. And I believe that then, I believe it to this day. So I was willing to plan, implement, and evaluate in program development. That was critical to me. I have a strong work ethic to make change. In fact, one of the people I talked with for years, John Cooper, used to say to me, industrial arts is your way of life. I guess that became quite true. It became very intense. To that end, I've had many leadership roles, state, local, national, and international level. I've done more projects than I can remember. It started out with curriculum for the 70s for the Onondaga Central Schools. All teachers, all programs. That was an extremely powerful, enlightening experience for me. Then I did the New York State Tech Ed Leadership Conference for the first time. That began to bring New York State leaders together in a fall conference. That had a lot of meaning and I think was very helpful. Then I was so fortunate to be in the Liverpool Central School District. With their support, we took a traditional industrial arts, high school level, almost vocational, some of it was, and we moved it to a nationally recognized technology education program with a well-developed curriculum and a staff that is second to none that I've ever experienced in my teaching career. I stepped into just an absolutely excellent situation. And lastly, I've already mentioned my experience with the Futuring Project in New York State. I sat in that in a leadership role for a long period of time, attended every single meeting they'd allow me to attend, and that was just a tremendous experience. So try to have a vision and work like hell. Maybe your vision will become a reality. Mine did.
Some of the contributions that I made to the Industrial Arts and Technology program is I published about 10 articles in School Shop. That was the professional journal for industrial arts teachers, mostly on children's woodworking projects, all of which incorporated some element of design, not merely a cookie-cutter project. As technology evolved, I introduced units on hydroponics, ergonomics, and solid waste management as part of the impacts of technology on society.
In terms of individuals, I think all teachers hope that if you can influence 5 or 6 students in your entire career and make some kind of a significant change for the positive in their life, I think that's what one hopes for when you're in this business. It's been a wonderful 42 years. Had a lot of great teachers to work with, a lot of great staff to work with, a lot of great students to work with, and it's nice to be at this point and very happy about that.
We had a lot of interesting projects that we did. One, of course, many of you might know about. We designed and built our own solar electric car and competed for 12 years in the Tour de Sol electric car race, which was an international race, and we won our division in 10 years. So that was really an exciting time for me. And we used that project as an engineering activity and made improvements in our solar car every year. And by the time I left, we had a pretty good car that even colleges didn't want to compete against.
It would be a pleasant surprise for me to just be remembered. My friend Don Feck said after you retire, 2 weeks later the phone messages blow away and they'll start saying, Phil who? So as long as my friends and colleagues remember me, that'll be a plus. But my professionalism, I tried to address that every day. I was fortunate to work with a group of colleagues and peers that were not only my friend, but they also maintained an element of professionalism that I felt necessary to follow. I wanted to be part of the group and not separate. And I appreciate everything they did to show me and our students the true meaning of professionalism. And then I would like to be remembered by my students. I tried to make every effort I could for them to be a good teacher, and they flattered me with their evaluations. I think they made most of it up, but I was always flattered. And additionally, the friendships that developed because we were professional together and we saw benefit from each other. I learned more from my students than I think they ever learned from me. Just the fact that I can be included with such a group tonight is impressive, and I thank you once again.
Willingness to work for advancement for my profession at all levels, local, state, national. Over the years, we've covered a lot of ground. We've seen industrial arts as a little add-on at the 7th, 8th grade level that's elected at the high school level. We've moved to a technology education program that's integrated K-12 in our educational system. We've gone from a high school elective type offering to programs nowadays that require students to study tech ed. We totally enjoyed entering into an environment that we'd helped create. And to us, to the person, that's exciting. That is exciting.